Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
I'm back and I'm mad.
Welcome, people. Hello, Jerry.
Becky.
That's a nice, nice greeting.
Yep, I thought so. There's Hazy Boy.
Hello, Hazy Boy.
Back from
Crispin.
basking in the heat.
Demons up, toffee ears. Welcome one, welcome all. Welcome to the hobby hall. I need something to drink.
Yeah.
No, we are not working with stills here. We are just, if we have inanimate objects, we use cutouts. Those are more our style. Also, for me is just buying cream cheese today. Nothing else.
Nice. Well done, Foamy. You lovable bastard.
Sup, Dodger, hello. Second gaming session. Crispin, you're spoiled for choice, it seems.
Holy shit balls, they're like buses. You wait for years and then two come along at once.
And if you're lucky, none will take you along. Because it's your first time in England and nobody told you need to reach out your hand and signal the driver to stop. Totally didn't happen to me. No, totally not.
What do you think they do? Just magically know that you want on?
Well, actually, if you're on a bus stop in Germany, the bus will stop.
Wow, that would annoy our bus drivers.
I guess so.
Because just because there's a bus stop there doesn't mean it's just one route going in one direction. There are multiple routes and they go all over the place. So like you could have 5 or 6 different routes that pass that bus stop and then deviate.
Yeah,
and if they all pull up and then you go, nah mate, I'm waiting on the 120. Oh, they'd be so fucked off.
Yeah,
they'd be getting down off that bus and giving you a letter.
That's the main difference. We have very few bus stops where multiple lines collide, and if there are ones, they usually have a very they all go more or less like stars into the city center. And if two lines go to the city center, they usually stay more or less on the same route, and only at the city center they diverge. So most people only drive into the city. So two buses stopping at that bus stop, you can take either of them, unless you want to go farther.
Shocking. Right, where should we go?
I think the
David Sub, Heresy Miniatures. What ones for what game? What are you doing? So, Also, Crispin, is it more Stargrave? Also, Hi Collins, no you don't. Also, Crispin, no we don't sell anything.
Not yet. Oh, did I show you my new shirt?
This is the way.
Yes. And the best thing, that's the free one. I bought 2 from whatever that damn t-shirt monster factory is called, QWERTY.
There are so many.
Yeah.
So many.
And this one was a free one, so I'm happy by buying 2, getting 2 free, and one of the 2 free ones was another Star Wars one, so I'm quite happy with it.
Happy days.
First order of the day would be...
Oh, well, I can tell you, but then I'd have to tell everybody else.
Selden 9, 5 Charity Space Marines.
Bam. You can't blame me for that, Doug, for 2 reasons. Reason the first, I'm not responsible for anything you do. And reason the second, we haven't even done Measures yet. Measures is coming in a couple of weeks. We deliberately did V&V separately. So the fact that you found V&V Miniatures on Measures, that's fuck all to do with us.
So you just showed him the trapdoor and he fell in by his own.
Oh, more stuff for Rangers. Nice. Is it? Oh, it's the ghouls. What are the ones that have half heads, like the things from Constantine? Is it the Blight? They're really nice demons from Heresy. Did I mention that I've got one of his giant Skelly Bobs? I got the giant
The one with the guitar?
No, I didn't get the one with the guitar.
Oh,
Because
shame.
I was looking at him going, well, I could have got the one with the guitar. But then I was looking at it and thinking, what the fuck am I going to use it for? So I got the Conan Barbarian one with the massive sword. So
Cool.
I thought so. Anyway.
Crispin, I don't know
Stop distracting me.
what show you are watching, but we're not tempting anybody to try out butt plugs.
Might be. Boom.
So, first project of the day, 5 Charity Space Marines by Selden9.
Yeah. Don't know what's going to happen with them. Because it's a local club and they're getting their regulars to paint up 100 Space Marines, sort of 5 each one in a different chapter, as a tribute to Captain Tom, who walked his little legs off because the Tories keep cutting the NHS. Shocking, isn't it, when you have to send a 99-year-old man out to raise money for fucking not even charity. You have to raise money for government-funded National Health Service because the government aren't funding it. But, you know, I'm not getting into politics right now. However, fuck the Tories. So these are a set of 5 miniatures that Selden is doing. And he chose Star Phantoms, Blood Size, Disciples of Caliban, and Black Dragon.
It's an interesting choice of bases.
Yeah, the fact that each is unique and also each chapter is unique. I like it's not just that they're all the same thing, they're all individualized. I quite like it because some of those chapters I've never heard of. I don't know if the 100 chapters had to be 100 actual real GW inspired chapters from somewhere, like things like the Disciples of Caliban are secondary or fucking tertiary founding for the Dark Angels, something like that. But other ones, never heard of them, so, you know, maybe exciting and new. Weirdly, he hadn't heard of the Blood Size before this, whereas I had heard of the Blood Size. So,
well, you can't hear about every bloody chapter that is there.
No, you can't. It's shocking. But it's quite nice because you get this sort of 5 little individuals, each in a different colour scheme. And because they are somewhat unique, Black Dragon are, you know, they've been kicking around for years and they're black, so not particularly exciting. But I quite like the Covenant of Fire as a chapter, simply because they look like Blood Angels. When Blood Angels used to be that colour before somebody decided to change them to raspberry jam red, which is a terrible shame. The Blood Angel armour was much nicer when it was terracotta. But, you know. Does anybody know how well black contrast goes over Gloth Varnish Zenith Prime? It's an interesting question. I'm glad you asked it.
Tune in a few weeks for the next Jerrycan.
Well, no, probably not, because I really dislike how contrasts work. I'm having to use it to follow something that John has done for the studio to do other things. That's a bit I imagine it should be fine. These things I'm working on were gloss black varnished, or primed rather, and then Zenith with a metallic, and then contrasted over the top. Depending on your contrast, you may want to thin it a bit, cut it. So
I love this little detail that he's actually got out of his way and got some sand stuck under the boots of the Marine.
Yeah, likewise the guy dancing in the snow also has snow clattered up his legs.
Oh yes.
So yeah, they're nicely put together, nicely assembled. He does say himself he thinks the Black Dragon's the worst because it doesn't really show the highlights that were put on with the airbrush so much and all the rest. But
did I read that correctly? He had 5 days to do 5 Marines?
It's entirely possible. I hadn't noticed that. I know he had 5 to do.
Because if he did these in 5 days, that's a rather impressive feat.
Don't know, you can ask him in the comments, because I can't see anywhere that he says he only had 5 days to do it.
I think one of the early entries he says 2 done and I only have 3 days left or something.
Well, that may just be that he started late, like myself. Procrastinators of the world unite.
With 2 days to go, I had 2 Marines finished. So, yeah.
Depends how you choose to interpret that.
Yeah, it's pretty much. I think it's more the line of I'll start late and then get blasted by the time. But nonetheless, nice paint jobs. I particularly like the Disciple of Caliban. The green looks very nice, and the shoulder pads are very nicely done.
Yeah, he's a talented little
Cunt?
fella. That too. Have you seen, on the subject of Arnie, have you seen the hassle-free Arnie from Predator?
No, not yet.
I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the chat.
Oh.
If you like Arnie, you should take a look at the hassle-free one. I would lift it out, but it's in the bottom of the bag underneath 3 hills behind me, behind the curtain. Can't see that. But at least I know where it is. It's quite nice.
Oh, you think you know where it is?
I think I know where it is. So that, really nice. Like I say, don't know if that's going to be raffled off or what, or how that's working as a little charity thing. But I thought, start off with a bit of charity. Do a lot of work for charity.
A little bit of a highlight. Next project then, 144 artists.
Yes, this is a collective of 144 artists who spend their time doing work on stuff.
Oh, would you look at that little Chaos Knight in the middle there? Isn't he lovely? I like him. But I'm guessing that's just 4 scales.
They're not 4 scales, they're 4 generators of some description.
Yes. 4 generators.
This is, and you'll see it as it goes further down, he's used some of those big spools of like that FDM printer thing and other bits and pieces to generate a load of industrial-like scratch-built terrain, and I absolutely love it. I especially love it before it's painted.
I see a lot of parts I
That's the one,
recognize from Kinder Egg and various children's toys.
Oh yeah, there's so much going on, so much. I mean, yes, there's a couple of resin bits here and there, but all the plastic tubing and little knickknacks and widgets and greeblies, as I believe they called them in ILM.
Greeblies.
Just to add definition and shape and tone. And when you're looking at it, it looks horrendous. You look at that going, oh my god, what has he done? Which I just adore. And then it all gets to painting. I mean, there's one of the spindles from his I presumably it's from his 3D printing thing, but using that as a central column for some sort of landing pad slash generator slash thing. Who knows?
I somehow
There's just so
get
much
the
going
feeling
on.
that he raided one of his children's toy boxes.
Yeah, could be that certainly. But this one's quite nice when you drop down and you get to see not only the whole look rounds, but then the painted ones afterwards. There's the smaller, fatter, thinner spindle. But one of the biggest reasons I enjoyed seeing this, as set on terrain pieces go, we don't often see circular.
That's true.
And when you're scratch building, it's so much easier to scratch build squares, rectangles, blocks. And that, I think, just comes up really, really nicely, especially the painted versions, which I think are up at the top. So, you'd have to scroll back up to see them. But once they're all painted and weathered down, they look very sci-fi. They look odd. You could see the crew from the Red Dwarf scuttling up them or whatever it happens to be. It just comes together, and I like a lot of cylinders. It draws the eye. It's not the usual.
Yeah. I think the only cylinder that is built quite regularly is
Water towery type things, grain silo-y.
anything that can be made
Tents.
from
Pringles.
Pringles cans.
There are a couple of places. I think Dark Ops is one, but there are a couple of MDF people who do little industrial things that require you to take either a 330mm can or a 440mm can, and then put them into the middle as like a cylinder, and they have like a wooden cap for both ends to hide the fact that it's a drinks can, and then the rest of the gantry and stuff builds around it to look like some industrial vat or container. They're quite nice. So yes,
And it's a nice middle ground between scratch building and just buying a kit.
yeah, and also it solves one of the issues that MDF has, which is curves.
Yeah.
Doing curve. Where's my belly gun for my fucking orc thing? So, presumably you have seen this because I think I've shown it.
Yes.
Who fucking knows? Anyway,
You did last week.
So that is like 18 sections of rings that fit around 12 flat slats. So you start off by making a dodecagon or whatever it is in the round in just long thin planks, and then to mask the planks then you have to stack ring upon ring upon ring. That's a fuckload of effort, whereas just taking 2 bits of tubing would have done that much bastard faster. Anyway,
Or maybe add a resin piece.
yeah, well, they've had it. I mean, there's plenty of resin pieces about, but a resin piece in that size is, going to be a fair chunk of resin. Anyway.
Yeah, but I totally agree with you. This kind of terrain is actually looking more interesting than your regular terrain that's, let's say, standard run-of-the-mill. Yeah. You surely can't take this for somebody else's terrain when you take it with you to your local tournament or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's going to cut down on the amount of thievery right off the bat.
Yeah. Very much so, I hope.
Very much so. Anyway, so that's what 144 artists have been up to. Seems excessive.
Next up is then... Oh, this one I've been watching over the week because I got notifications. She did a lot.
Oh, yeah. I think we looked at this at the beginning of lockdown. This was started with the Victorian vampire in the top hat with the monocle. However, back and turning GW beaky people into some sort of sinister dystopian Victoriana steampunk chimney sweeps, using a lot of tufty bits and eyelashes. Which
I can't remember. Did she also invent the idea for that one Space Marine Gene Stealer cult we saw, or is she nicking the idea?
I'd like to think that we have inspired other people to use that by highlighting and showcasing it.
Even unpainted, this looks so cool.
Yeah, they're very different. Right off the bat, I like the fact that they no longer look like GW's chicken people. They look so odd. So very odd.
Yeah, and the addition of chimneys is...
Chimney Mary Parpins.
If you're not listening to the song in your head now, what's wrong with you?
It's all Dick Van Dyke. Or the Beep Van Beep Show, as it's called these days. Thank you, Family Guy. Chimney Mary Parpins. But yeah, it's just an outstandingly weird-looking group.
Indeed. And even without many layers of paints on, they already look like very dynamic and awesome.
The bowler hats that set them off, I feel.
They definitely add. Yeah, but once she's getting to paint them, they're just gorgeous.
She also has that set of Malifaux plastic buildings, which I absolutely adore, and which Warren liberated for his own gaming room.
Liberated.
Liberated. I'm going to have to get a set for myself at some stage.
Speaking of Warren, is he still mad about rebasing his miniatures?
Oh, no. I think he's content to live in the world of round bases, even though he's wrong. Dick Air posted a few of his turnip things. I'll tell you better than that, Demon Sub. There's a private project about Turnip 28 that I was glaring at earlier. I'm set to follow. So hopefully that'll be unleashed into the public domain soon. Henry, we're waiting. Just saying. I know all and see all.
Turnip miniatures using tufts on Facebook. That's a combination of words that doesn't make sense to anybody else outside the hobby, does it?
No, oh well, you know, if they don't understand, then it's their fault. Fuck them. They need to knuckle down and learn. It's not that difficult. How was the Moonstone game? It was good fun, but Mick cheated by winning. Actually, playing the scenario and doing the thing. He hoovered up. Warren started hoovering up presents. He hoovered up presents. I couldn't get any of the fuckers to get off the presents to get any until like the last turn. So I think I was on 2 victory points. Warren desperately started opening presents like there was no tomorrow, and then fluffed a load of the rolls and got nothing. So he ended up with 11 VPs because he'd been done quite well at the start. And Mick finished on 19, even though he wasn't able to open a single present in the last turn because, you know, his work here was done. By the time we'd realised what was happening on like turn 2, he was already fucking on like 18 VPs. It's like, what the fuck? Fuck you, Mick.
Sounds a bit like he had planned.
He keeps saying he didn't, and then keeps going, you know, kicked the toys out of me the last 2 games. You go, that's not really how I remember it. I remember scraping a fucking win in Clash of Spears, Mick, where we both could have ran off because we'd had, you know, pretty much total army kills on both sides. It was a fucking came down to a single dice roll, and it was pure blind luck. It wasn't a draw. And then in the intro game to Moonstone, I won by 1, or possibly even it was a 1-1 draw for Moonstone. Yeah, it was a 1-1 draw. So he keeps telling everybody that I give him a lacing, where in actual fact, barely scraped a victory, barely scraped a draw, and then he just runs away with the next one.
But maybe he's
gotta watch him. He's like one of those card sharks.
Maybe he's referring to the actual lacing you're giving him after the fact.
Yeah, a couple of hours. Had a barbecue in between. We drank a lot. It was good.
So,
well, I drank a lot.
Next project, please. Last Stand at Glazes Creek by Sethi.
Yes. We're all aware that I'm a fan of the Praetorian Guard and what he has been doing in his Last Stand. And we've not been here in a little while, and he's done a fuckload of updates. In fact, this is one of 2
is this
projects
my
which have a fuckload of updates.
Going weird, or are the pictures missing?
That's your side. Hit refresh because they're all in there. Continue with the dance.
Much better. So where did we left off?
Oh, way the fuck
there.
down.
Next Armageddon pattern.
March.
Yes.
I think was last time. Yeah.
May 31st.
Oh well, that too.
After that, a lot of new miniatures.
A lot of old miniatures. A lot of miniatures getting painted. We'll give it that. And once again, we have a delightful variety of both infantry and armour as he continues trying to defend Glazers Creek from the filthy orcs. Filthy orcs! I'm just saying.
Orcs aren't filthy?
Filthy!
No. They're cute and cuddly.
Filth wizards, cousin of the badger. There we have a bugler. I use the buglers as my comlinks in my Praetorians, which is why I've got fucking loads of them. But yeah, mix of Forge World, regular GW, and crazy old GW. And then also, as you can see there, Lancers, which I imagine have come courtesy of the Australian Post and Victoria Lamb, because that's where I'm getting mine from. If I ever decide to finish that army these days, that looks unlikely, because don't really have anything to do with them. But I mean, look at those Lancers. Look at them.
Why
Beautiful.
do they have dynamite strapped to the lances?
Because Rough Riders have explosive lances in 40k, or at least they used to when 40k was a proper game. Fuck knows what they have these days. So whenever you charged in, they would explode, giving you really good charge attack, and then afterwards your tiny fighting men would get minced by whoever they charged if they hadn't seen them off. But also meant you could take out tanks with them, just run up and jab some lances in the side. Fucking great. Yours ride lizards. Do you use... What type of lizards do you use? I have a set of Muti Raiders from Gorka Morka still in their blister packs, and I was thinking of using those. Also, did you notice that she painted... He painted the Lancers as the same scarlet-coated infantry? So that's how you know they're not just British, because the British would obviously all be a lovely Surge Blue. Cold ones. I'd thought about cold ones.
Yeah, I wouldn't unpack those muties from Gorka Morka.
No.
They could be your...
You're clearly a man of taste distinction.
Your retirement funds.
Nah, won't be that. I mean, look at these. Every man Jack. Beautiful old school markings.
Yeah, I really... Though I'm not into 40k anymore very much, but this army feels right, for the lack of a better word.
Because it's a proper army consisting of Imperial Guard.
The
He's
color
even got the
scheme,
Talon Desert Raider captain.
design of the miniatures, and the accompanying
I put
tanks.
my last cannon on big metal wheels as well, so you can just roll them forward.
It's just like one design.
It's all good. Yeah, well, two chassis, Khmer's chassis and the Rush chassis, and then you change up guns or whatever you need to. In that case, he's made a recovery vehicle from that big fucking crane thing from the scenery set.
Yeah, that's
somewhere
it's all good. Up there.
It's all good. You know what he's missing though?
More tanks?
No, he's got a Talon Desert Raider helping him out. But there was a Natal-looking fucker from the Dirty Dozen set, Colonel Schaefer's Last Chancers, who was kneeling down and had like one of the black hats on. So I painted mine up and used him as Ardendorf to lead one of my platoons. It was good. See, again, Tenzin. Makes perfect sense. Hello, Pete. Welcome to the Funhouse. And then we hit the most recent update number, the 40, where he's got
Orc stuff.
a Baneblade. I'm ignoring the Orc stuff. Skip the Orc stuff. Look at the Baneblade and look at all the men arrayed. Look at them arrayed. Go on, start looking.
That's a proper sized army, I'd say.
10, 20, 30. Yeah, not quite, but you know. I'll give it to him on the grounds. Not everybody is insane.
Also, there is so much space between these models, I think he has many chances of adding forces to that.
It's going to be tricky to add some forces to it because you can't get them anymore.
Which range were the Grognards again with the nice helmets?
Well, it's funny you say that. War Games Atlantic are doing a plastic Space Brit set. So he can get resin from Victoria and he can get those plastics when they come out.
So there would be a chance of a not too expensive expansion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
The Baneblade is a sight for sore eyes.
Yes, but I didn't want jokes about his name. Technically, he was the missile loader for the missile pair in Schaefer's Last Chancers. Didn't get used for that. Yeah.
Very nicely. So,
them's the breaks. I like the fact he's even got a cook.
he's
halfling cook.
he's teasing that he's going to do Glazer's Creek Farm, which sounds interesting. But now he takes a break to do orcs.
Well, you know, he needs somebody to charge and get mown down by serried ranks of redcoats. I'd wait until they're out, because I mean the Grognards, French, are a similar position. They've got essentially rifles and bayonets, but they look chunky and a bit futuristic-ish. They don't look like actual muskets, so they do the job. They look well. I like them. I approve. See what the Brits look like. They're coming with a variety of things. That's yeah, good times.
Next project then is a overdose of teams, he says, but can you have too many Blood Bowl teams? I say no.
It's a possibility.
That's a weird looking fella.
He's just having a rest after probably some sort of horrendous rush that he had to slime his way forward on. He's currently got 11 teams completed before Season 2 adds anybody new. So here we see a bunch of them.
Seems to be a friend of the contrast colors.
Yep, well, it's probably a good way to go for Blood Bowl. Poppy colours, get the team painted quickly, move on. You don't want to spend any time on it. You don't have to, because they are just a sports team doing sports with the sports. But I like the fact that we've got this little sort of barrage of star players in amongst them.
Yeah, it's a bit all over the place. And we left him last time when he was at tune with a Blood Bowl Widow.
Yeah.
So now he's doing
Banshee for the undead.
some dwarves.
Chaos Dwarves.
That's a team I'm not familiar with. I guess those should count as goblins.
I imagine hobgoblins, if it's Chaos Dwarves.
Could be. And a Chaos Dwarf Centaur.
Bull Centaurs.
And another one.
Desperate bastards when it comes to the old blitzing.
I never played against those.
Right, well, the first thing you do is stay well the fuck away from the Bull Centaurs. That's step number one.
I think the only matches I can recall were either dwarves, elves, humans, and I think that's about it. Oh no, it's Skaven, but
Skaven. Skaven for the win.
and
team, best
and
team.
another black orc team, but somehow mostly flimsy, jumpy, runny types.
Yeah, well, the Chaos Dwarves are not that. And it's very annoying because the Bull Centaurs are fast, so they can theoretically score as well, but they're also armoured up the wazoo. It's like having a four-legged Chaos Warrior thrusting himself into your face. What was your team, Denzin, or did you flip around a lot? I mostly just stuck to Skaven, although I did love my undead team with Frankenstein. I wish I knew where my Frankenstein model had gone. I really liked that model. Smiley.
Frankenstein Blood Bowl.
Frankenstein was the star player. Again for the undead. And you used to just line up him in the middle with the ball, and then mummies around and then just have like ghouls or whatever fucking outflanking, or skeletons and zombies just as interference, and they just call it the funeral march, where the ball carrier would just walk slowly down the middle of the pitch surrounded by an undefeatable block of scum, and people just cry and give up and go home. If you can't stop it, you certainly can't knock them down. They will fuck you up if you come near them.
That
It's very
sounds like
slow.
a terrible
Over the
tactic.
Oh, it's great. Over the course of like 7 turns, it took you to reach the end zone, but by that stage, anybody who'd come near you to try and take the ball off you was dead. He just lost his team. It's like pissing on a fire. It was amazing.
Good old
And
days.
Skaven was great. Outpace everybody, especially when you got a gutter runner with the mutation, long legs, and sprint. I just go, turn 1, I'll just score then, will I? Yeah, I'll just score from the kickoff. Okay, you can kick the ball off again. I just do that. Just run up a massive score. Long legs. Yay!
Yes, some combinations seem a bit overpowered.
Oh yeah. It's like any GW game. There's nothing like balance in Blood Bowl. The best you could hope for is somebody would pick up one of the bastards and fuck them into the crowd, or the crowd would just mob the shit out of them.
Yeah, those were the best games I've had, when the opposing team rolled for field invasion and got totally knackered.
It's a way to do it.
Next up then would be Band of Brothers
Yes.
by Adam Oglesby.
Correctamundo.
So this doesn't strike me as a ordinary project due to
Could
the
it be?
lack of models.
There are models in it. Could it be that I hold here in my hands a project of finest battle report?
You mean somebody actually listened?
Amazing. Is this your friend? Tell your friend well done. Tell your friend he's getting a golden button whenever we have a weekender again. It'll be a fortnight. He's fucking getting one. Because it's not just the fact that it's a battle report, but you get the history with all the relevant links if you want to follow up on it. You get the tactical maps, the aerial photographs. You can build your board based on it.
I like the board. I like
Everything
it very
is
much.
sexual. I loves it so much. I'm a simple man. Is it too much to ask that I get battle reports every week? I don't think so.
Well,
But yeah, so
how
you get
many
the full-
active members does OTT have currently?
I don't know. There's at least 3, enough for a crusade.
Yeah, so there should be one battle report per week at least.
I would like to think so, but I'm constantly disappointed. However, anybody who's fancying following in the footsteps, you can just go right ahead. You don't even have to think or anything. All of it is there. And if you don't want to recreate it, then you can just kick back and watch the battle report unfold. There's the armies. Look at them all painted. Then there's the battle report itself. Look at them all on the table, going forward, doing the things, and exploding the stuff. It's great. Fucking great.
Killing one another without even shedding a bit of blood.
I know you did, Demon Sub. Don't you worry. I do. Oh, I know.
Like that would escape Jerry. I'm pretty sure you nagged anybody of the tech departments to write you a script that anytime somebody makes a project that looks like a battle report, you get an extra ping going, there's something you might want to look at.
I wish I knew what any of those words meant. But yeah, if I did, I would certainly have got them to do whatever it was you suggested I do. But yeah, so you two can take a leaf out of Dick Winter's book and go and take out some big guns.
I wondered, did you build this board just for this one game, or is that something that's going around showing off on events? Because that strikes me a bit much work for just an occasional game.
That could be used for lots of games. Just because it's a trench light in it. don't have to play Break or Manor. But at the same time, I wholeheartedly condone the building of a one-off board simply for it. It's fucking great.
Yeah, it's. I'm stunned by the visual impressions we get from this battle report. It's just amazing balls.
History did repeat itself as well, which is good, presumably because Dick was there, shuffling everybody forward, extolling them in no uncertain terms. It'd be great for World War One as well. Yeah, I could see that. I'm putting together a French and German army for Blood and Valor for World War One. I'm going to try and do some games on camera of it. So, just waiting on the French arriving from War Games Atlantic, because we've got the Germans. And then I just need to build 2 armies and paint them.
Yeah, this is very, very nice indeed. I feel from this point on, the next project is going to be some sort of disappointment.
Oh, it's a terrible thing to say to jam a scat.
Is it?
Might be.
James Cut does Prussian Hussars.
Yeah, we've looked at this before. However, it's nice to see them painted. It's also nice to be able to jump on to YouTube, where he currently has 33 subscribers for his YouTube channel. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying, if you don't, you're cats. But it also means you get to see nice rotating shots of the unit doing full 360 swirls. I'm all for that. It also makes up for the fact that people who, aren't in the House of Water, Best House, don't get to see a lot of this stuff until it's actually posted up here. So
I have a feeling we're here and just the clicks didn't work.
Yeah, we were here a while ago.
A
little while ago.
Weird one again. The project system being the project system again.
I think the last time we were here...
Because I remember the comparison of the miniatures.
Yeah. And he'd done the... Yeah, I think it must have been May time, because he put in the... I'm taking a break to do some cycling. Yeah, June. So that was it. But War Games Atlantic Army Builder. Those regiments are very clever. I like what they're doing with those. I can't wait until they do the Goths and Le Romans. Curious as to what else they do in their Army Builder style.
I always find it fascinating how much time people invest in researching the paint schemes for their miniatures. I think I never could muster the time or...
It's different strokes for different folks. I do the same, and whenever I can be arsed and do a project, I update it in a similar way. 1, because it helps me, and 2, it helps other people. So if somebody else wants to have a look at doing Rourke's Drift, all of the information about the action and colour schemes and who was there for both sides are all in my little project log. So it stops them from having to do a fuckload of research. If they don't want to do any, it's all there. Likewise with this one, if you're interested in doing a Napoleonic Prussian army, you can get a big chunk of the information that you need from this, including colour facings and that sort of thing, because it can be daunting. I have a couple of books, one on uniforms at Waterloo, and then I also have my Napoleonic source book, which I use in conjunction to look up stuff like this, but it's mostly breakdowns in just text form. So if you don't know what a facing is, then being told that the facings are fucking green or buff or whatever it happens to be, then it's not much help to you. And I like them because it means sci-fi and fantasy players who are thinking of starting a historic thing can go and look at a World War II project by somebody doing 15 mil tanks, or somebody doing, Breakhor Manor, or whatever it happens to be, and just go, well, here is the information I need. Because they always say it's difficult to get into historics and you don't know where to start. I feel just using somebody else's project to do the heavy lifting is the best way.
Yeah, it lowers the barrier to entry, which is, to be honest, I think most games in our hobby with that start with large collections of miniatures or huge amounts of background knowledge for some people, it's just, you look at them and go, yeah, this looks nice. I never could find the time or willpower to do any of that. And when somebody just hands you a short tutorial and says, here, this is how you start, and then once you're gaining traction, the
same as Bolt Action, Flames of War, even Black Powder to a certain extent, all get sort of poo-pooed by dyed-in-the-wool historical. Well, they don't all get poo-pooed, but there's a large section of the historical community look at them and go, you're not real games. But they have lowered the barrier of entry fucking dramatically. Being able to just pick up a book that contains all of the lists and a painting guide for a period or area. It's the very briefest of touches over the top. You're not getting any deep dives into history in any of them, really. But if you just want to play a World War II game and you don't want to spend ages reading Hitler's last offensive
and maybe you
things
want
like that,
to play something like what's the bloody movie called again?
Shaving Ryan's Private?
No. The one where they're hunting the gold with all the negative vibes.
Oh, Kelly's Heroes.
Kelly's Heroes, yeah.
Yeah, or Cross of Iron.
So, some of those...
I need to buy do you know Empress Miniatures do a really nice Cross of Iron set, and they've had it out for fucking ever, and I still haven't got around to buying it. So I need to buy it for my Danes on the Eastern Front. Just saying. It's just you can just get like 4 of the main characters, including Steiner. So yeah. But anyway,
as you said, lowering the barrier of entry is always a good thing, and if you don't get new people into your hobby on a lower level, you probably will never get them into the deep end of historical accurate battles.
Oh yeah.
On where they will nag you that your buttons are the wrong color of gold.
I mean, once you've done that, then you need to go out and pay good money on getting books like these.
German Order of Battle. Is it that? I hope
so Volume 1 is the 1st to the 209th Infantry. Volume 2 is the 291st to the 999th Infantry Division. Volume 3 is the Panzergrenadier, and Waffen SS divisions. So then you can just sit back and you go, well, who was in wherever? And then you find out who was in a specific geographic location, and then you can go and look up when they were formed, what their order of battle was, and that sort of thing. So you'll be able to go, well, the Tatra division composed of the Panzer Battalion 1st, 1 Company, the 4th Panzer Grenadier Training Battalion, the 82nd Panzer Grenadier Replacement Training Regiment, the 85th. You just go down through them all. That's the sort of mad dog shit that I get into, whereas you can just go to the project system and go, I'd like to know about World War II, please. He's doing Bolt Action. Fantastic. However, don't worry, there's absolutely no pictures in these books beyond the front cover and the back cover. It's all just text. Don't worry, folks. You won't get distracted by shiny pictures. It's not actually true. There's about 4 pictures in each one, but they're black and whites.
Also, those pictures could potentially lead to them being they're historical accurate, so the pictures are allowed.
Yeah. So it's like a possibly inebriated member of the Africa Corps. At least he's happy. How happy is...
Yeah, booze.
Tropical helmets soon discarded in favour of soft caps. Well, they would be. Do I have a link to these books? They're just from Stackpole.
So, our next project, please, would be then.
Christ on a bike! They're not going back on the shelf. Next project.
Yes, crawl through the fallout.
Crawl through the fallout. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
With Uglub.
With, as you say, Uglub discuss. So, big bit of train. I kind of went on a bit of a train bent. If people notice, there's multiple train bits. But this is Sarissa's Marshport range, which I'm fairly certain should be Cthulhu based, but seems to be doing it up as some sort of Fallout derelict thing. I quite like it. I like the fact that here's my cheapo craft paints over my primer, and then I'm going to break out some model mates weathering gunk and just go at it and give you, a nice weathered building. It's all good.
It looks the part for. I'm going to be a heretic, say, for minimal effort.
Yeah.
Because he basically just painted some wood.
Yeah.
But it looks really nice. That's partially due to the nature of the kit, which in its original form already looks quite decent. But I think he really managed to make it look really good.
Yeah, I really like it. Far Harbor and Fallout, if you say so, Denzin. I've never played Fallout.
Far Harbor was an extension to Fallout 4.
Sure.
Where you went on an island where there was a very toxic fog.
All of that, definitely, 100%.
And a giant hermit crab that lived inside a van.
I look at it and think Kingsport or Innsmouth. That's what I see when I see that building. I see pallid people with big eyes.
And tentacles.
Sweaty skin. No tentacles there. They're all frog people. But I also like the Atom Spring. So he goes on, does a nice bit of modelling, breaking out the green paint for his decaying bits and pieces. And the falling down buildings. It's all nice. It's lovely. Terrain is good. ReaperCon, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I do enjoy myself some Fallout. I really should try and get my hands on some of the newer stuff.
Very fishy.
It's a shame that nobody plays in my area.
I keep hearing that. People always say that. Nobody plays in my area. Have you considered the fact that you have a child?
Yes, and your attention span is very typical
Simple.
for a 10-year-old.
Bribes. Here is some licorice. You will get a piece of licorice at the end of every turn.
I'm not trying to bribe you, Jerry.
Whatever children like. Books. I don't know. I don't know what children like.
Not licorice.
Fry's Turkish delight.
It would work with chocolate, but then again, my wife would get mad at me.
Oh, there you go. So stick to the licorice then. I don't know why you're...
Because my wife would want the licorice.
Problem solver here, really.
Yes, she's into licorice very much.
Mm-hmm.
What is Fallout? Panzer Kaput asks, well knowing what it is.
That's what happens when a nuclear bomb goes off.
Indeed, that's the aftermath. That's when the rain comes.
Who wants to translate what it says on his mug, by the way?
On whose mug? Where? Did I?
The toxic pull test. When you scroll down.
I don't know.
Sure.
Did you try to... can you translate?
No, I can't. That's why I was asking the community, because I'm too lazy. Turkish Delight. Not the movie, sir. I have no idea what a movie... The movie's called Turkish Delight? Oh, okay. I imagine it's probably amazing or some shit. No, I'm very disappointed in you, Maldrak. I assumed you would. Dutch movie, you should not watch it. It is bad. Right, okay. But it's named after Fry's Turkish Delight, which is amazing.
Translation matrix comes up blank.
Right, well, time will tell then. We shall find out in the future.
No, I want to know
Glib
now.
can't get away.
I want to know.
Do you know any Icelandic people you can ask?
Yeah, I now know what it
Oh,
means. I don't speak Icelandic.
That's no help, Maldrak. You keep telling us that, but I need to know what it says in the book.
What's in the box?
Who's on first?
Yeah,
Anyway, somebody
next-
will find out what it says on the mug.
someday we will know. Next up, please. A big wave of nostalgia.
Yeah, I included this since we've already had a proper Imperial Guard army. I thought you'd probably like to see some Norks.
Yes, and I think we looked at the
We-
battle wagon ages ago.
We have been on this a long, long time ago. I can still remember when the music used to make me smile. But then he snuck in between the orcs and did some Eldar things, I think. So this, I don't know if this is an exciting and new version of an older project or how this is coming together, but I like it. I particularly like it when you hit the test orcs. Yeah, there you go. You're at the bottom. Because I think the battle wagon was in a different project.
I think so,
Yeah.
because he did it from basically scratch.
Yeah, I had to rebuild it all. So now they're all sort of coming together. But I mean, look at those Kevan orcs, including Warg Gazgul Thraka, looking divine. Look at him. Look, he looks great. And that Evil Sun's knob, that was a classic. Fucking classic. I've noticed he's got a shock attack gun. Oh, he has the spinny bit there. I didn't see it in one of the other pictures. It's like, have you lost the spinny bit? 'Cause I've got a spare spinny bit I can send you.
I still got that Gazgul as well, still unpainted. And also the shock attack gun.
Oh, shock attack. I can't find the rest of the shock attack. Well, actually, that's not true. I have the rest of the shock attack gun. I don't have the orc firer. What the fuck happened to him? He got eaten at some... The orcs were inherited from my brother who started playing with me and then gave it up. Shocking.
Yeah, the shock attack gun was one of the main reasons why I fell in love with the orcs. The description of making a hole into real in time space and just having some crazy
Nothing worse than a bunch of warp crazed snotlings appearing inside your armor.
yeah. That sounds terrifying. I love it.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah, that's just this is so
Huntress
much.
movie is good fun, Doug. And yes, the fact the Phoenix Lords at this stage they probably will remake them, but to be brutally honest, anybody who's still playing 40k and Eldar should just go to Artel and just get their resin versions of the Phoenix Lords because they're fucking amazing.
Oh, I'm guessing you have seen what the new mega boss from or what's they called again? Hold on. Was it Artel? I don't know.
Yep, it is Kibork, Kibork 2, I
Yeah,
believe.
this giant,
mega boss.
humongous beast.
It's good.
I just saw the model and I'm completely in love with it. Though I'm not going to buy that one. I'm just
No,
not.
I imagine it's a hefty price being resin.
It's
Well, ask Steve.
yeah, but it looks very heartwarming.
Take a moment to appreciate how great Kev Adams is as a sculptor.
I'm a bit disappointed on this picture because in the other pictures we saw, he has his little snottling friend with him, and he's not painted.
Macari.
Yeah,
Well,
he has the model.
presumably that's because he's doing paint job of test orcs.
But he belongs to him.
Yeah, he hasn't done the test goblins are further up. Very needy. Do you know that, Pandancer?
Yes, I am. Of course.
Well, just saying. It's all want with you, huh? Huh? Huh?
So, what, are you trying to stop me?
No, not at all. I lost. This will amuse anybody who's aware of it. I lost Corandrus's head. The Phoenix Lord for the Striking Scorpions, and his head was a ball socket joint. So at the top of his armor was this tiny little, must have been a ball bearing that they modelled it round. So I just painted that yellow and painted a little smiley face on it like an acid man.
So you've got a smiley man.
That's a little smiley man wandering around the place.
And also, if you ever should find the head, you can just put it on again.
That is very true. Although I have one of the Artel Striking Scorpion Corandrus things. It looks great, so fuck it. His head was massive. He was only an Eldar in scale because his head was the same size as his body. I'm surprised he didn't suffer from Chaos Dwarf syndrome, in that they were all very short because their hats were so massive. It's the only reason. I do like the fact that he's run into that problem with people who have old lead stuff and not enough plastic. It's just like, we'll just make molds from blue stuff to allow me to cast additional arms so that all of my men will have the correct arms. Because I had a friend give up in the end and just started sticking on whatever arms he could fucking find, and they do not look right.
I was going to say that the early orcs really don't look good with modern day orc arms.
Yeah, the old orcs look like what they are: British soccer hooligans. That's what they are. They don't need to have big muscles on them. They're all wearing jackboots, denim with turned up fucking cuffs at the ankles, and skinny arms and pop bellies. That's what you want. They should be coming out of a Millwall match, laying the head into everybody. They don't need to be these massively aggressive, I can bite your head off with one chomp things. It's not what we want to see.
Yeah, let's bask in the glory once more. Just look at this.
I feel like buying some stuff from Kev Adams now. I won't though. I've just backed the Westphalia Kickstarter. Just took my money today, and Moonstone Kickstarter will be taking my money at the end of the week. So
So there's going to be a little draft on your account.
Yeah, it may even mean that I won't be able to buy the rest of the Genesis books. And try around and look at them to see this month, which is what I was planning. So
but I'm sure.
Oh, that would make an amazing spaceship for full thrust. It would look very similar to one of the was it the Alliance ships from Firefly? Just this big tall thing, a couple of lasers floating around.
So some of the modelers seem to be in everything.
Yep.
Next project then, please.
Sure.
Grasshoppers and elephants?
Now, this is page 1 of 3. This project only started in March. So we're definitely not going to be going through it all. However, this is his Vietnam plan. In 28 mil, did start in 15, worked up to 20, and now it's gone all the way to 28. And this is a fucking amazing project for 4 months. The amount of work he has done in 4 months puts me to shame. So much shame. All the shame.
Well, he's been doing it for years, so...
Yeah, he's been doing Vietnam for years, but in 2 different scales. This is his 3rd scale, and he only started this 4 months ago. It's not just Gringos. There's stuff from Full Metal Miniatures, and I think from Empress as well. When you get into some of the other pages later on, it's fucking amazing. And when I say this is 3 pages long, it's not just 3 pages with like lots of filler like I would do. Just, I'll fill this out by chucking extra shit in there that you may or may not care about. This is 3 pages of solid, I'm going to paint every fucker who was in the Vietnam War, apparently at a 1-to-1 scale, along with all the vehicles and other shit. It's really nice.
Yeah, and he seems to be very keen on taking actual pictures from actual stuff he's building.
Why not?
Which I think this project could also make John very happy, by the looks of it.
Could do. I would have to tell John it exists though. I'm not sure if I should. Not sure if I should.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, because I'm by nature a contrary bastard.
No, you're not.
Oh, I really am.
No,
just look at that.
According to sources, you're the gentle giant.
Yeah, those sources lie. I mean, look at it. Look at it. Fuck me. Even the basing with all the varieties of tafts. Give it its tafty club. Look. It's a thing of beauty. It is so beautiful.
Yeah, and I guess you really need to be a fan of one period to go through 3 different scales.
Sure. Could be. I mean, like I say, this is only the first page. If anybody's interested, definitely worth following this, and definitely worth having a look at the other stuff he's been doing, because he's done a whole host of terrain. So he's done paddy fields and crops and all sorts of shit, downed helicopters and bits and pieces. So there's some gorgeous, gorgeous stuff in it. And it's fascinating because I was talking about Vietnam today, because I'm planning on poking Piers and Warwick, because I know Warwick is working on a Vietnam game, which is all about essentially Platoon. It's not about big mass battle or multiple platoons running through the forest and having these big engagements. It's about your small squads and fire teams and what they go through over the course of their tour of duty. So it's more kind of narrative. You could go out on a patrol, select your men, send them out, then you roll on the table and like nothing happens. The patrol is uneventful. Or you could be absolutely hammered, or you can get back and then get attacked when you're attempting to get back into the fire base, because they just launch a full-on assault type of thing, and it's trying to get your guys to get through the tour and get out. So it's zooming in on a smaller group. At least that was the plan. I don't know if that's where they've still gone when they started the play testing and all the rest, but I think that for me is more representative of what I think of when I think of the Vietnam War, rather than big engagements. Yes, there were some big engagements, but it was those small stories of small groups of people just attempting to survive. So
this isn't the oddball I remember, is it?
That is an oddball. He is not the oddball you remember. That is I wanted to say it's like a Contos or something like that. They made these ridiculous, those are 6 recoilless rifles strapped to that bastard. They made one. They showed it to the army, and the army went, "Nah, it's madness. It's fucking got no armor. It's got these 6 ridiculous guns on it. Yeah, they'll punch through most things, but who the fuck would use that?" And the Marine Corps went, "We'll have those." Oh, Ontos. There we go. I knew it ended in a toss, but I couldn't remember the Ontos. Yeah, so it was a weird machine.
It does look.
He's even got pigs.
Really frightening.
He didn't get Lloyd to paint his livestock, mind you. So I'm just saying, in many respects, I may not have painted anything, but I feel I win. Not saying I'm better necessarily, although I am better.
Yeah, this is definitely an interesting project to keep eyes on.
Yeah,
just in case he's switching scales again. Next level of scale would be 40 You 32?
Well, he's already. Yeah, I think he's more likely to find things in 40 or 54. I don't think any manufacturers for historics have bothered with 32. Really, there's no point. It's such an outlandish, made-up thing. So, 28s and then straight on to the big ones, 40s and 54s.
Then straight on to the next project, please. Demon Sub. Rangas of Shadow Depp.
I know him.
I somehow think we've seen that guy before.
He sounds familiar.
But I think he's an annoying cunt.
Shut up, you cunt!
You know what? You could be right. But look, he did a battle report.
Yeah, but he
Again.
did he do RPG with miniatures? Or is this...
No, he's using those books to play skirmish games.
Oh, okay. So it's a valid use of a map.
You know, I think it's a valid use. Don't lie, Demon Sub. Or at least if you're doing it, don't do it in front of me. That'd be horrible. Ugh. I feel dirty. Get the wire wool out, Brillo pad, scrub myself clean while I rock back and forth. But yeah, we'd already seen one of Demon Sub's lovely little narrative Rangers of Shadow Deep scenarios before. So this one is just a follow-up. In fact, I think it's 2, the Broken Stairs, and then you're at the second one there. And I really enjoy these simply because of the way they're done. They remind me more of the old battle reports you used to get in White Dwarf, where everything was a narrative thing, and they told you, you know, what was happening through the medium of story. I don't think GW do battle reports anymore, do they?
Demon Sub, how many of these map books do you own? I'm counting 4.
Yeah, but some of them are different ones. This is what I've said. You never look at my unboxings. I hate you. There are like large and small and giant books, and because they all have similar patterns in them but not identical patterns, you can flip open one book and then put a smaller book doubled open beside it, and they join up, so you can build these maps out much bigger. It's good.
So he has 4, 2 giant and 2 big ones.
2 of the big ones.
And speaking of, excuse me, did you also read this one?
Hero Hammer issue 2?
Yes.
No, not yet. It takes me a while to run up at it because I have to do it on a screen, and that's horrible. It's like, you know.
Yeah, and it's full of very lovely battle reports. Even though some weird Dutch guy was complaining about why Warhammer Fantasy Battle needs large green fields. And to that I say, because it's the law.
Why does it need large green fields? Why would it not have them? I don't understand the question.
Could you please rephrase that?
It's like alcohol. Is it worth it? What?
When somebody tells you alcohol is no solution, yes, it is. Ask any chemistry teacher.
True, very true.
Yeah. But back to the project.
Why is there no train on the train? What? I'm so baffled now. Anyway. Anyway, it's best not to try and understand the Dutch. They are a decadent race.
I'm torn, to be honest. I love the way he's set up, but the spines of the book always annoy me for some weird reason.
Hey, you know, you can get around that now by buying just their map packs that apparently they're starting to do with those big boxes, so no spirals in there. Don't have to worry about it. You could do what the Egg does, Demon Sub. We got, what was it, Roman Roll, the dice and draw game about rebuilding Rome from PSC Games, to film a Let's Play. And he went, it's too shiny. He didn't like it being shiny, so he sprayed it with matte varnish, which means we couldn't write on the fucking map anymore. It's the whole point is it's shiny so you could write on it and then rub it off. It's like, would it have killed you just to tilt the camera slightly more so you didn't get the glare? No, apparently so. Apparently it was easier to go outside and just heave a can of fucking anti-shine matte varnish all over it.
Well, you could apply some kind of foil to get it writable again. Use.
Oh yeah, you just break out. Well, if I was at home, I've got like 4 meters of self-adhesive clear plastic for backing books. So I could have just done that over the top of it, but I wasn't at home, unfortunately. I was an hour away at the other side of the fucking country.
But
going,
I really love the way
why
he's
would you do
using
that?
the books.
Yeah, it looks great. And just, when you see things like that little framed vignette looking at them coming through the trees, or a fly coming up, or the dog running off. Tags. Do you like tags? And the whole time, every image is a story, and this is just doubly so there, because you get the whole blow by blow account, but without it being just a dry, I rolled a 5, then he rolled a 6, and we both rolled 2 4s. Then he rolled a 1 and I rolled a 6. I went, aha. Then he rolled 2 3s and a 5. I rolled a 4 and 2 6s.
Rangers, fly hole. Treasure, another fly hole.
Yeah,
And a third
exactly,
one.
David. Especially for something like that, where it's a narrative-driven game. Narrating it like that, I just think works wonderfully well.
How would you go about organizing a tournament with a narrative setting? I wonder.
How would you? They used to do them. Yeah, I stopped going to tournaments because I just got fed up with the cheese armies. But I would still go to the occasional campaign weekends, and they were good fun. They essentially had a similar setup to a tournament. You would play the same amount of games over the weekend, but it was never best player against best player, blah blah blah. You were divided up in some ways. So the last one I went to was a 40k narrative weekend run by Spiky Club from Reading. Anyway, somebody like that. And they had this whole thing, the world you were on, what was happening, and every game, depending on how you were split up, because it was factionalized, they then told what was happening. So you would play the first game, they would then tally the results, and then they would come back and explain how those results have gone. So essentially it was like a branching campaign that you would play with your friends over course of weeks or months, but they were just doing it en masse over a weekend. So you got this thing where the Imperium were being pushed back by Chaos and such, and then they had the Orcs and Nids and Necrons who were just like a third faction of like anarchy, disorder. They didn't matter who they were being thrown against. They were just fucking everybody's plans over. So it's narrative branching campaigns work well. Run in a similar tournament format. You could do it with Star Wars incredibly well.
Yeah, I was just thinking about what happens if you, just like, let's take Star Wars Legion as an example. You organize a tournament with let's say 20 people, and 15 turn up and using all the same force, so being 50 Imperial players.
Yep.
How do you balance such things?
You don't. Those, whenever they're selling tickets for tournaments, for campaign weekend, they specifically go, it's a 1-to-1 type of thing, and then the additional tickets went to that sort of third party that didn't fit either or. I mean, to work in Star Wars, the first thing you would have to do is pick a period.
Yeah.
So you would just go, it would be a Ridge Tridge, and then you limit the tickets to the factions, so 10 per side. There are 10 Imperial and 10 Rebel tickets available, first come first served. and just do it that way.
Yeah, I guess as much that there needs to be a little bit more done in preparation of such an event, other than
You love it, Steve. I know you love it.
Why?
Right, it's just saying the big sticks come out during thematic events. Nothing wrong with it. Yeah, well, you could, but then it doubles your workload as an organizer. And if anybody's ever had the misfortune of organizing big tournaments, it's a pain in the hole. Added to which, you then also have to devote time to answering rules queries and being a judge, or you have to get separate judges to do it, which means even for a small tournament, like sort of a campaign weekend with 20 players, you could end up needing 3 or 4 judges just to keep tabs on what's going on and to answer questions so that you're not delaying games. Because if you're delaying games, then that has a knock-on effect that games aren't finishing at the right time, so they can't take breaks and then start again, and so on and so forth. So it becomes just a massive undertaking.
Yeah,
And then having to do that twice.
There's a lot of overhead you need to calculate during tournament organization.
Never be an organizer. That is key, I feel, in life.
Okay, so since we've cleared that one up, I feel we could go on to the next project.
Well, we could.
That would be Collins does Savage Frontier.
You say more terrain? Don't mind if I do, sir.
Some
Don't mind if I do.
wood buildings made by of wood, made by foreground.
Yes. Unlike the wooden cars made by foreground, with wooden bodies and wooden wheels, wooden engines, they wouldn't go.
Wouldn't know.
Anywho, breaking out the choppy saws and the scalpely blades and getting to work building shit.
Oh, and he's trying to do his own shingling.
Hot shingles in your area.
Please, no, don't do Sean Connery on my show, please.
Yes. What the fuck would you not?
I've got nobody to blame but myself.
Very true. I watched the YouTube video yesterday of some lunatic going through and explaining how Mason in The Rock is actually James Bond. It's his final James Bond. I'm putting it all together like some tinfoil hat wearing lunatic. The fact I couldn't be arsed getting up to switch it off says a lot about me, but there you go. However,
that's why somebody invented the remote. I guess.
Well, except I was airbrushing, so literally all I'd do was turn round and stop the thing. But too much hassle, too many things in my hands. The anomaly tiles are interesting. I quite like the ones, and somebody was asking about tiling yesterday in the best house. I think, or maybe it was just a regular chat actually. No, best house. And I like the one war bases do because they're like embossed sheets, so cheaper than the plastic card version, but much easier to use. But I quite like this. Do you know when any of the stuff is arriving, Collins? Because presumably, I remember you getting started into this before the Kickstarter had even launched. And now I'm just curious.
Curious, Jerry is curious.
It's all built. Is that including the Tiny Fighting Men from Footsore? Oh, good. I stopped whenever I seen my spray, to be fair. So anything after the drippy stuff that I said you should use, I just assumed was not that important. They don't. Right, they don't exist. Okay.
Severe lack of internet.
Oh no! I love that. I love that stack of table.
Yeah, it looks a bit intimidating, to be honest.
Oh no, it's great. I'd seen that before and looked at it myself and thought, it'd be really nice to have. I don't have the storage space myself, but a friend of mine years ago, Sam Butler, Steve may remember, Big Sam the Bastard. He had something like that, although it was in the days before Lasercat, but he was a very, very good carpenter himself. And he would build shelves specifically for all his polystyrene, high density polystyrene cut modular sections and boards and things. It was great.
Which I think is probably the best way to store your modular terrains, to have some kind of shelving that
Bespoke shelving,
where you just slide it in and every piece just fits in the most efficient way possible, because otherwise you're just having mountains of terrain falling upon you at some point in the future.
Yeah. But I mean,
I need that one from the very lowest part. Let me get that one. And after that, it's only screaming.
It's a beautiful board, beautiful setup. I really like how it's all come together.
Indeed.
And once again, I'm in a similar way to claiming Holly's stuff earlier, in that we showcased the Tafts. I'm also claiming this one because I told him to go to Paper Cuts and make his own cement to seal everything. And without that, I mean, really, this whole thing was a non-starter.
Just look at that shelf.
Have you seen the pond? Yeah, I did, yeah. Of course, there are a lot of water features going on over the past X number of days. Francisco from Fighting Hedgehog, his daughter she wanted to see him use resin, so he decided to make a swampy water feature. Had to go off and buy some resin just to keep his kid happy.
I think we looked at that last week or the week before.
He's not in our project system.
I remember we looked at somebody testing resin.
There are lots of people have been testing resin, but this was over the weekend. He poured a resin thing made of stuff. It was good. It was good, but unlike a lot of things that we've looked at tonight, this is only one page of several in the ongoing saga of getting into the
of too many pages.
No, not too many pages, but getting into the frozen north to be killed up by engines. It's all good. It's all very good.
Oh, yeah, this is the more current ones.
Yep.
Would you look at that once it's loaded?
I would. You can't make me. I'm gonna close my eyes now. Nah.
Well, I know you have seen this already, so I don't care.
I might not have. I don't pick these things.
Well, then who does it?
Hang on a minute. I do. Yeah. Never mind. Carry on.
Yeah, this is a very nice looking one. Though I don't know I could play on this table because I see no way where my ATST would fit. He would just stand in one corner and shoot at everybody.
Sure. That's viable.
Kill them all!
No problem with that.
Kill them all. Let God sort him out. Hey, Martin! Welcome to the late party. As you say, so next project, please. Painting evil dwarves. Though
Painting evil dwarves.
last time we were here, we saw already the dwarves being painted, and now he's added orcs.
Not just orcs, but also the more important, goblins.
And very interesting models at those.
Yep.
Those weren't GWs.
Once again, Kev, like I've already said, those are Warmonger, by the way, those orcs. But they're Kev Adams sculpts for Warmonger. If you want a decent orc or goblin, you go to the Goblin Master. That's how that works. However, that's not why I picked this. I picked it because I really like the contrast he gets in the skin. And the fact that he's using multiple layers like glazes, so he's starting off with Magus purple on the lower areas, and then yellow on the upper areas, and then when that's done, a Athonian camo shade over the whole thing. In a very similar way to Marco, his, prime, zenith, then oil wash to tie it all together.
Hello, Marco!
That I used on my little Slay Industry guys was exactly the same. It was, you use two contrasting colors underneath and then you tone them all together, and it looks absolutely superb.
It does.
That, for essentially 3 contrast layers, looks like you've spent far more time over it than you need to. Essentially, you can get away with thin glazes of contrast and build up these layers and get the tones and the definitions. It's genius.
And I think these 3 archers really depict what I love so much about Kev's orcs. Is there's the occasional really funny one in between where this is the one closing his hands over his eyes going, oh no.
Yeah, somebody has missed, not just badly, but I imagine there's probably an arrow stuck in the back of a warlord's head.
Something along those lines.
The good thing there is it misses all the vital spots on an orc if it hits the back of his skull. It's the way to do it.
Yeah.
But they're just superb. I mean, the dwarves we'd seen earlier were gorgeous, and again, using various tones and shades. It has a very similar purpley shade for the undertone of the skin on the dwarves, although highlighted up differently. So you can have goblins and chaos dwarves still having a significant color theme running throughout the army while looking very different. Well, they just come together a treat. And of course, glorious Lloyd shots. Lloyd shots as far as the eye can see.
Yes, very much liked. And this takes us to our last project of the evening.
Sure. Started with charity. Thought we'd finish with some charity. To do a lot of work for charity.
I think this is the one she talked about in the forum thread, which she did mention before, which I totally... Honestly, people, if you're doing stuff for charity, make yourself heard. Invite people over.
I had completely missed this until they thanked people via the medium of face page, and they posted something on the Otter face page, at which point Tom sent me the link.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, completely missed this. So Ninjili,
do yourselves a favor and make yourselves heard. These charity things almost every time blow up if you point the right people at it. The right people being the ones promoting stuff.
Charity. So, again, another weirdly purple zenith, or not zenith, whatever I did know it because I heard it last week, and I was like, oh, I must remember that. The opposite of zenith. However, a charity raffle, that's probably gone now, I imagine.
Yeah.
I think they've done the drawing for it already. But it's nice seeing the paintwork going in there. And it's a very comprehensive tutorial on how to paint your custard marines to a nice standard as well. You can get them game worthy in short order using that. They did do a live 24-hour Twitch stream playing one of those computer games that the kids play. So this is all part and parcel of attempt to raise money for Macmillan. So Bob and Ginger, two of Goram / Ninjili's friends, one of them's been going through the old answer for a couple of years now, and have had a lot of support from Macmillan. So this is, I think, the 3rd time they've done like a charity thing, like a Twitch streamy type thing. The reason I have picked this, there is a donation bit at the very bottom. It's a trying time for everyone. I do like Macmillan. When my father died, he spent the last 2 weeks of his life in the Macmillan hospice here in Antrim, and they couldn't do enough for him. They were fantastic. So I know what it's like to be up there in one of those places with family, and it's a shit time, but they go a long way to make it less shit and less stressful for all, and to take a lot of the weight. So I can't think of many better charities out there. So if people feel the urge, their target was 500, and they didn't quite hit it over the 24 hours. It's gone unexpected error. Don't do unexpected error to me, you prick. There we go. Now it's working.
£270.
Yeah. So. I can't even see the actual total on it at the moment. There was a bigger total.
520.
All right, so it's gone over the 500. That's good anyway. But don't let that feel like you have to to not support if you feel the urge, people. If
I'll
you do,
include
great.
the link
If you
into
don't,
the video description for people on YouTube watching later, so that you don't have to type.
Oh yeah, because typing is the worst. Just the worst. That's why I never type. I just mind beam all the words I want into the computer.
So the Macmillan Cancer Support is a home for, I don't know how the term is, where you...
Hospice.
A hospice, yeah.
Yeah. So essentially end of life care. But it's not, I mean, the hospice here in Antrim is attached to the Antrim Area Hospital, but it's not part of the Antrim Area Hospital. It's not funded by the NHS. It's there are nurses and like there, but there's also an awful lot of volunteers. So I go up every Christmas and bung them a rake of money to get pest on in a Christmas card.
So, do you need to sign up for donation?
I don't believe so. If you're in the UK and you pay tax, you can tick it up as gift aid, and the government will have to stamp up the tax on it, so they'll get a bonus for nothing, which is nice, because anytime I can find a way to get money back out of the government, I'll definitely say it's a good way of going for it. But otherwise you can PayPal it or whatevs.
Hang on there.
You typing your credit card number in?
Not
just
really.
hold up to the screen.
So that's this, and then there this. All the happy auto-completion forms.
Auto-completion. Not auto-completion, which is different.
That would be utter nonsense.
Utter nonsense.
So... And...
Wow. Yeah.
Putting my mouth where my money is, or the other way around.
Oh, I don't know.
Done.
Either's good. Oh, God bless you, Skipper. There are not many like you.
It's not much you usually can do with just a few quid.
In the grand scheme of things,
No, it's not.
For charities like that, it all works. All it helps. And
I think
I say,
if they make
definitely a worthy one.
If they set a target for 500, which is, in my opinion, a very modest target, pushing them a bit over isn't too bad of a thing.
Yeah. I'll do no harm. It's not like it's going to get pissed up the wall at Christmas party.
I hope not. Unless somebody who's in the hospice going for his last days actually chooses to get flat out drunk.
It's funny you say that, because at one point I mentioned to one of the hospice nurses, going, he's not bad. He's just annoyed he can't have a drink. And she goes, why not? Hospital? She went, I don't know. It's not going to do him any harm.
It's not like it's going to kill him.
Yeah, if you want to bring him. So it's like, fuck yeah, will I bring him drink? Oh, Christ, on a bike. Don't say that to him, McCabe. I'll be right back. I'm off to the off license.
Hold that thought. I'll be right back with a six-pack.
Wow.
Yeah, what's the point in not enjoying the final days of your life?
Exactly.
If you know you're going.
Before we fuck off, I've got to tell you this, because this was hilarious. So, last couple of days, he had an oxygen mask on. Oxygen mask. Because he couldn't really breathe particularly well. And the day before he died, he's sitting in thing. We're all, all the family's there, plus brothers and sisters down, And he's lying back, and he motions my mother over. Say something, she can't hear. And she leans right in, because she's as deaf as a fucking post anyway. And then he takes down the oxygen mask. Is your hearing aid fixed? Right into her ear. And then just put the mask back on and went back to chuckling away to himself.
Well,
good to have a hobby, apparently.
I'm pretty sure I know from which side of the family your humor comes from.
I don't have any humor. I'm an incredibly stoic, sour bastard. That's me. Anywho. So, there you go.
And on that happy note, I thank everybody who's been with us live chat and has actually made it to the end. Again, thank you, Jerry, for sharing that enjoyable little story. And now, everybody, get off my lawn. We see you again next week. Bye.